Welcome to Dinosaur Man Presents. This week, Dinosaur Man presents the original MCU.
Dinosaur Man.
Okay. Before we get to that, I'm Rory M. Spence, and joining me is Alex Hudson. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thanks. I really like the fact that my live reaction to finding out what the subject of this week's episode was going to be was, okay,
Yeah.
As if I was just like, all right, okay, here we go.
More will be revealed, because you don't even know what it is yet, really, do you?
No, I mean, I've got a theory, but I'm kind of interested to see where we're going.
I would
with this.
put money on your theory being very wrong.
Okay.
What is your theory?
I mean, my theory was going to be it was those terrible straight to DVD Marvel movies of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, that's
the David Hasselhoff, Nick Fury one.
Yeah. Well, it is not that. We will reveal. I think maybe we should explain what this is to people listening to either of our podcast feeds, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Before we get into it.
Because this is just dropped into their feed and they're just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. So if you're listening on a Dinosaur Man theme, I'm Rory M. Spence. I do a podcast called Doghair Presents, where we do a new topic every week. And I thought we could do a little crossover with Dinosaur Man because I wanted to talk about a film franchise that interested me.
And if you're listening to Doghair Presents, I'm Alex Hudson and I host or co-host what is my podcast name? Dinosaur Man Podcast, where we just talk about movies and sometimes TV, I guess. I mean, Andy sometimes does TV, but I'm purely movie focused at this point. Life's too short for TV. That's what I say. So yes, that's the setup done here. I'm really excited to see what this is because you've been very secretive with me in terms of what I was going to expect.
Yeah, okay. So I'll tell you, that is probably a good theory on what it is, but you're well off.
Okay.
So, almost 50 years before Iron Man hit the cinema, Disney produced two seemingly unconnected franchises that I have discovered are secretly connected via themes, cast members, and setting.
Okay.
The setting
is Robert Downey Sr.?
No, it's not. The setting is the fictional Higher Education Institute, Medfield College of Technology. Yes, we are talking about the Medfield College Universe.
Okay.
Does that mean anything to you now?
Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure it will.
Okay, so yeah, basically what I've done is I discovered that two franchises were set in this same college, and I've decided to look into this.
Because this was a deliberate thing where they were crossing those over 50 years before.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Is there any evidence to suggest that is the case, or is this just a conclusion that you've jumped to?
Pretty much a conclusion I've jumped to, but we'll decide as I go.
It's the best way to get to a conclusion. You see a conclusion over there, you better be jumping.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk you through these movies, what they're about, run you through some plot synopses. A couple of them I think you'll have heard of, you'll know, maybe even seen, but yeah. So we'll decide, I think, at the end whether or not these are actually connected or not, all right?
No, I mean, I'm already thinking that they are, and I don't know what they are yet. So, yeah, I'm willing to believe whatever you tell me at this point.
So our first film is 1961's The Absent-Minded Professor.
Okay, right.
You familiar with this?
Yes.
Okay. So people our age, if they're not familiar, will be more familiar with the 1997 remake Flubber.
An all-time classic, I think we can all agree.
Which is also set at Medfield College, but I've not talked about this since it is
that's rebooted. Why it rang a bell. I was thinking of the Robin Williams franchise. That must have been what I was thinking of.
Yeah. I've discovered that a lot of people don't know this remake. I did, but I've been talking to people about this. It's not commonly known, I don't think. So if you're hearing about this for the first time, then...
I think what's interesting is that Flubber itself feels so much like a 90s film.
Yeah.
That it kind of feels like, even though I suppose the kind of 90s films it feels like in, say, something like Dr. Dolittle or The Nutty Professor were also remakes.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like all of the films that we kind of associate with medical professions in the 90s.
Yeah.
Patch Adams. I mean, Patch Adams wasn't a remake, but that's the one that proves the rule.
Yeah.
They were all remakes. But yeah, I think this is one of those lesser known ones for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So have you seen it?
Never, no.
Okay.
And, you know, maybe that's a criticism of my movie-going experience, but...
Yeah, I hadn't seen it until sitting down to do this, pretty much. So, it's actually even less well-known, probably. It's based on a short story called A Situation of Gravity by Samuel W. Taylor.
Okay.
The film was written by Bill Walsh and directed by Robert Stevenson. It stars Fred McMurray as Professor Ned Brainard.
Okay. I can't remember what the guy's name is in Flubber, so that could be exactly the same.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's worth looking up quickly, I think.
I mean, I definitely have the name Phil in my head, but that can't be right.
It's Philip Brainard.
Oh, well, there we go then.
There you go. They changed it from Ned, but didn't change Brainard.
Okay. I mean, the surname was the bit that I was really struggling with.
Yeah.
I could have believed his name was Ned, but Philip. Okay, there we go.
Professor Ned Brainard is an absolute dumb fuck who keeps forgetting he's getting married even seconds after being told. While he's missing his wedding for the third time, he blows up his lab, knocks himself out, and discovers a substance that bounces higher rather than losing momentum when it bounces, which he names Flubber, a portmanteau of flying rubber.
So was it called Flubber in the original as well?
It was, yeah.
Ah, interesting, because Flubber, again, feels like a 90s word.
It does, yeah. Portmanteaus.
Alongside Furbies.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Is that a portmanteau of, like, fur baby, maybe?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I was going to say furry rabies, so yeah, I guess fur babies makes way more sense than furry rabies.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
just a
portmanteaus were all the craze. They were just a big craze.
Yeah. So, yeah, he tries to get his fiancée back, but is mostly concerned with fucking about with this new invention that he has.
Of course.
He uses it to make a car fly by putting it in an engine, bombarding it with radiation. It's a Model T Ford that he drives about in. He flies about in his car while singing a song about his fiancée, Betsy. So the college, Medfield College, owes money to this rich guy called Alonzo Hawk.
That's a good name. That's a strong name.
It's great. His son goes to the college. He's called Biff Hawk. He is failing Brainard's class, and because of that, he isn't allowed to play in the big basketball game against Rutger, their rival college. And he is their star player. So Professor Brainard uses Flubber on the college basketball team's shoes without telling them. Amazingly, they don't all just break every bone in their body immediately by bouncing through the ceiling. They get used to it pretty quickly and win the game in a far too long basketball scene. It goes on for so long.
Does it go on for longer than the one in Flubber?
I can't remember Flubber well enough to tell you that, but it is all.
Because I can remember Flubber really well, okay. And I'm telling you now, every single thing that you said happens in The Absent Mind Professor happens in Flubber, to the point where I'm questioning whether the evil villain's name is the same as well. I don't think it is, but the basketball scene.
So I can tell you,
the basketball scenes are real. I think again, it kind of felt like they got too used to that Flubber on the bottom of their shoes than I would have thought. Yeah. Because you can't control that.
No.
It's an uncontrollable substance.
Yeah, you're not just like jumping higher, you're actually like bouncing high off the ground.
Yeah. The physics of it are you've never been in a position before where you've jumped that way. So how are you supposed to A, control a basketball, and B, and I suppose the thing is, it's not traveling if you're not technically walking with the basketball. I think that's how they get away with it.
Yeah,
Just,
if you jump,
they're going great distances.
Yeah.
Because I think there's one point where they get it at their own net, and then they're right up at the other end of the court, but because they've just jumped once, it's all fine. And I think he jumps through the net afterwards, which is a very funny thing.
Yeah, that happens in the original.
Oh, good. Okay, so they really just recycled everything.
Yeah. The guy does like a sort of like backflip off the backboard at one point, which is actually quite cool. But yeah, pretty much everything you can think of that would be like something you could do in that scene with wires happens in that scene. It's like the movie's only about an hour and a half, and it feels like this is maybe about half an hour.
Put the money on the screen is what I say, People want to see that you've spent the money on the wires.
Yeah, exactly. So after this, there's a love interest for Betsy, the fiance, who's like a rival called Sheldon, Professor Sheldon. I've not written his name down. But he works for the other college, the rival college, and when he's driving away, Professor Brainerd decides to fuck with him by bouncing his flying car on top of his car. And then
again, this definitely happens in Flubber as well.
Really, that's very interesting. I should have watched this again. I didn't have the time.
He's played by Shooter McGavin, who plays him. That.
So this causes that guy to crash headfirst into a police car, like head on into a police car. Which happens in a few more of these movies, so we'll keep that in mind as a
interesting trope. Interesting trope to have. Okay.
Yeah, he gets threatened by the rich college donor for some reason, and then he tries to sell Flubber to the government. He just gets bounced. He tries to phone the president, is what he says he's going to do, but he ends up just getting bounced around different departments. Eventually ending in what they called the Department of Defense. Is that what they're called? The military one. And they end up alerting the Navy, Army and Air Force to his invention, who all come to get him. Then Professor Brainerd goes to a dance, putting Flubber in his shoes to make him a better dancer, which is not something that would work.
I don't know if this happens in Flubber. Yeah, it's like... You've forgotten what your thing does already. Yeah. But does it work?
Well, he just kind of bounces about the dance floor. He gets a bit of a crowd going. People are impressed with him bouncing about.
I mean, look, there's more rhythm in him now, I guess.
Yeah. But 90% of this film, combined with this and the basketball scene, is people bouncing about a gym hall. That's all.
Look, they had the gym hall for one day. They really needed to make the most of it.
Yeah.
Right, dress it up as the dance now. We're done with the basketball scene.
So while he's swinging on the chandelier or the lighting or whatever, all these military guys turn up, and he decides he's going to show them his flying car. But unbeknownst to him, Alonzo Hawk and Biff Hawk have switched his car for another one, another Model T Ford that was in the neighbouring county that they knew about.
Was in the neighbouring county.
Yeah.
Okay, this is good.
How they go to get it. So obviously it doesn't work, and Brainerd and his fiancée, who now loves him again, it's very unclear why that happens. But
I mean, I feel like that's kind of tied up quite messily in the in the 90s version as well. I feel like she just kind of goes, "Oh, this Christopher McDonald character is a bit of a bore. I'm going to go back to my." Absent-minded. He's still absent-minded, though. Like, he's still a dumb fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
she obviously does love him, though, because she was willing to go to 3 weddings.
Which is, to be fair, that is more chances than most people would get, I would say.
Definitely. They go to steal the car back from Hawk. They get it back, and then they fly to Washington. Where the military are about to fire upon them for flying a car across Washington.
Of course, completely within their rights.
But the military officers from earlier turn up and explain what's happening and radio to him. And then they are going to buy his invention. And then it just cuts to a wedding where Brainerd actually turns up and he gets married to Betsy.
Okay, that's good. I thought it might have been a different wedding and you turned up to the wrong one. Or she just got married to Alonzo Hawke or someone.
I've gone for a Dinosaur Man rating at the end of these as well. I'm going to go with would recommend for this. It is actually
would recommend.
Pretty good.
Okay.
I know I'm making fun of it
Flubber's good.
in the recap. Yeah, it is.
And it sounds exactly like Flubber.
Pretty good visual effects for the time, a lot of it, to be honest. A lot of fun gags, other than the basketball scene that goes on too long. It's actually pretty well paced, and it's good fun.
And who won the Medford team won the basketball, right?
They did, yeah.
Do you have the exact score, seeing as it went on for a real-time basketball event?
I don't have it down, and I don't know if I could. That's something I could Google.
That's fine. I'll find that separately. I was just interested to know.
It was a last-second shot that won them. I know that, because they were trailing behind at the half.
I had a lot of money on Medford to win, so this is good news. So I'm delighted about that. Can I just ask now, is there anything in the post-credits?
No, there isn't.
No. Okay, so Disney kind of learned their lesson. Okay, yeah. Interesting.
No. Okay, so our next film is the sequel to that, Son of Flubber.
Okay, I'm aware of it. Yeah. I've never seen it, but I'm aware that it exists.
This one, not on Disney Plus. I had to hunt this one down.
Okay. Absent-Minded Professor is.
It is, yep.
But,
it is.
But Son of Flubber deemed not worthy of Disney Plus.
No. 3 of the 5 films I'm going to tell you about are on Disney Plus. 2 of them.
Okay, well I've got my weekend sorted then.
Yeah. This one is on archive.org. So.
Interesting. A website that I didn't know existed, and
it's a lot of out of copyright stuff on it.
Okay. But surely Son of Flubber is still in copyright.
I would think so. It's from 1963.
If it's not, should we just buy the copyright on it and just remake it or something?
Yeah, could do. Yeah.
We want the rights to a Son of Flubber. Okay. Chris Pratt as Son of Flubber. Okay, so tell me about Son of Flubber, because is this still set at Medford?
It is, Medfield. Yep.
Oh, Medfield.
Yep.
Oh no, I've bet on the wrong basketball team.
It was directed by Robert Stevenson, written by Bill Walsh again, and Don DeGardi. Mostly returning cast members for this one. Brainerd hasn't received the money yet from the government for Flubber, but what he has received is a tax bill for estimated earnings, which he estimated at $1 million, I believe.
In 1960 whatever money, that's a lot.
It's a lot of money, and it does not.
It's a lot now, I guess.
Yeah.
And hang on, so they're taxing him, knowing full well they haven't paid him yet.
Yeah.
Oh, the government's up to their old tricks again. Yeah. I see nothing changes in 50 years.
Basically,
the government.
They wave it off like it's different departments, nothing to do with each other, and they don't care, really.
Yes.
The
Blaming incompetence.
The tax guy is a real horrible guy who taxes. I think he taxes a wee boy that was delivering papers, or he writes his name down when he delivers papers to Brainerd's house to investigate him. That kind of thing.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So he believes that his new invention that he could sell is going to solve this. Flubber gas is what he has now.
Okay.
There is no...
So what does Flubber gas do that Flubber doesn't... Well, how does that work, first of all?
He's made gas out of Flubber somehow. There's no Flubber in this one. I don't know. I think maybe a lower budget.
The budget wasn't there for it.
Yeah.
No wire work.
No.
We can't afford the gym this time. Okay.
So Flubber gas. Yeah, well, he believes this is going to solve this. Betsy does not believe this is going to solve this. Leaves him again.
So, when you said, she clearly loves him because she's gone to 3 weddings for him.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out, that only lasts so long.
Yeah.
And as soon as she realises that he hasn't got the money, she said, she's a gold digger.
Yeah. Well, I've kind of simplified this as well. They're having an argument about her old, the other professor guy. He turns up to a dinner party with with Professor Brainerd's old college girlfriend, and she's flirting with him and stuff. So there's kind of a...
This is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the punch-up I would do on it personally is that she doesn't believe in the gas. Like, she's there like,
that's also
you've
part
tricked...
of it.
I feel like you've tricked me by saying that you've got this gas thing going on. I think that Flubber's it's a... Until you can show me the physical version of Flubber again, I'll never believe you've reinvented Flubber. And then that's what I would do, at least.
Mm.
Or he forgot her anniversary. There's your inciting incident.
But I think at that point you've got to expect him to forget things. That is your... Like, you can't be angry at this man for forgetting stuff when you've married him, and at this point you need to start forgiving that, I think.
I suppose you've made a really good point there of she's actually willing to accept his flaws of character, whereas I'm thinking she needs to try and change him ASAP. Because he's awful.
He's actually less forgetful in this one. That doesn't really play much of a part.
Interesting.
So maybe it has some.
I'd be exploring that.
Yeah.
If I was him as a scientist, I would be working out, how is it my memory's improving as I get older? Because, like, in the fight against Alzheimer's, I feel like that's going to be a really key thing.
Yeah.
And he's holding that back from us because he's a selfish little prick who's too obsessed with flubber gas. A thing that isn't going to work.
Well, let's get...
Let me guess, it does.
Flubber gas is meant to change the weather, right? That's the goal of it. It's meant to be able to control the weather.
It doesn't even do anything close to the original thing.
No, it's not.
Don't call it flubber gas, just call it a different thing. Weather gas.
I should also mention at this point that Beth Hawk, he's now working as Professor Brainard's assistant. And what he's doing is he's trying to use flubber gas to help the football team, right?
It's always a sports institution in need of assistance.
Yeah. And that'll come up later. We'll leave that for now. But that's the B plot.
I hope that's a 30-minute point of the runtime.
So Brainard, he makes his big flubber gas gun and points it towards the clouds above the town. He lives just like a wee bit outside of the town. And he fires this in an attempt to make it rain over the town. What it does, well, to him it appears to do nothing. What it does is actually shatter all the glass in the town.
So he's created like a deadly weapon.
Pretty much, yeah. He doesn't.
But I suppose of course, he lives outside of town, Andy.
Yeah. But Alonzo Hawk, who insures most of the places that had their glass shattered, he works out the point of origin of this. He sort of works out that it's coming out of a cone from one point, which is Professor Brainard's back garden, his shed in his back garden, and he goes there. And at first he's quite angry at him, but then he realises that what they could do is how the two of them together, what he proposes to him is they go around buying up loads of glass manufacturers and then go town to town shattering all the glass.
So it's like a Ponzi scheme of sorts. Like, we own the glass manufacturing that you have to then get replaced.
Yeah.
But we're also the insurers.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some insider trading stuff going on here that definitely isn't okay.
Yeah. Brainard's not into it. He refuses.
No, of course not. He's a morally upstanding citizen.
Yes. Yeah. So then our B story comes back into play. So Beth has been using flubber gas to try and inflate the football team's like uniforms so that if they get hit, like people bounce off them. I don't know why I couldn't just use regular flubber for this. It would have worked a lot better. But
surely the gas escapes.
Yeah, well, anytime they get hit, they kind of just fly away. That's the problem with this. And then Professor Brainard takes a moment to look into what he's doing and goes, why don't you just throw a player with the bottle? That's Professor Brainard's suggestion in this. And they're like, that's genius. You inflate a player and then you throw him with the bottle.
So hang on. Just to get this right, because in my head I think I've understood what you're saying, but I cannot process that. So they are throwing a player along with the ball.
They pump the player's uniform full of flubber gas, which makes them very light, and they fly through the air.
Yeah. And instead of the quarterback throwing the ball, he throws a player.
Yeah, basically they're running
holding
back.
the ball.
Yeah, he just...
I mean, regulation states that would not be a legal move. But
no, well, yeah.
I think, unlike Air Bud, there is something in the rules that says you can't do that.
Yeah, well, that comes up.
Oh, good. I was hoping it would.
During the game, the referee hands the opposing coach who's complaining the rule book and says, find me where it says you can't do that, and I'll stop them.
So this is the origin of that?
Pretty much. That actually happens during the basketball game in the first one as well.
So, not only is Flubber a direct remake of this, but also Air Bud's weirdly a direct remake of The Absent-Minded Professor.
Yeah. Need to find out what the name of the college that's set in is called.
I want to find out. I want to find out if this dog's going to the same college. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So, too long football scene happens. It ends with the player that's getting thrown about and stuff. I haven't really mentioned him, but Biff is basically just using this guy, the running back of the team, and doing experiments with flubber gas on him, and he's like thrown through buildings and stuff like that before this. But he keeps suggesting that they fill the ball with flubber gas, and they're like, no, we'll lose control of the ball, we can't do that. But he wants to do like really long kicks and stuff like that. Towards the end of the very long football scene, the gas escapes from his suit. Okay. But he kept a little needle of the little injector of a little bit of flubber gas, and he puts it in the ball, and they do a 100-yard kick and win the game.
Of course. Everything's got to be won in the final instance.
Yeah. So then Professor Brainerd, he's hiding out at the game because the police are after him for shattering all the glass. And he gets arrested for property damage. And then there's a trial. But he gets acquitted when the county agricultural agent turns up. He's called as a witness.
Okay.
And he states that the gas had markedly improved the crops in the county, which is usually awful for growing. And
so it turns out he is a genius who's actually helped everyone.
Yeah, he theorises that some sort of dry rain, as he calls it, has occurred.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is it.
Because I feel like he's not a good professor. He's not a good inventor.
No.
He invents things by accident that seemingly have effects that he's not predicting them to have.
Yeah, pretty much.
So he thinks he can control the weather, but it does a different thing where it improves the crops, but it's this dry rain that I'm presuming he's never mentioned.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just get the feeling that this guy's a bit of a chancer. But, he's stumbled across a couple of
Flubber
inventions.
Kind of did what he wanted it to do. What he was trying to do is discover a new kind
win a football game. Win a basketball game, of course.
Yeah. And discover a new kind of energy, which he did, kind of, by making something that continues to bounce.
But, can I ask... Okay, having heard the plot of both of these films...
Right.
Like, what's his end game? Like, does he want to sell these to the military, or does he not?
I think he just wants to continue.
Like any scientist, he wants to discover discovery. Yeah, okay, fine.
I don't think he doesn't seem to have any ambitions to make a lot of money or anything.
Does he get the wife back, by the way?
Oh yeah, I should have mentioned that.
Of course,
yeah.
Just double checking. Yeah. She left him because
during
the other thing.
The court scene, the football team have to go find the agricultural guy, and she stalls the court by testifying, and she just talks for ages about nothing.
Okay, so she just filibusters basically, and just holds up everything. Okay, good. It sounds okay. And the rating for this one?
This is a that'll do pick. It's
okay.
If you're looking for something to watch, you've watched the first one, you want something to watch on a Sunday afternoon or something. It's all right. It's a bit of fun.
Okay,
but it's not as good as the first one.
It's not a patch on.
No.
The Absent-Minded Professor.
No.
Interesting. Okay. A sequel it's a real Iron Man 2 of a situation.
Yeah, pretty much.
It doesn't live up to the hype of the first one.
No. Absolutely not.
Okay.
So that's the end of our first franchise of the two.
Yeah. Shame that never got a third.
Yeah.
You'd have thought with Son of Flubber, Grandson of Flubber was surely on the way.
Yeah. Terrible.
But also, like,
Son of Flubber.
Son of Flubber isn't what it is.
No, it's
different Flubber. Just call it that.
Yeah. Well, it is a derivative of Flubber, I guess. You could call it a son of, but...
Yeah, I don't think anyone in science ever describes something that's a derivative of something as the son of the thing.
No, I suppose not.
But okay. So that's our first franchise. Well, it's a good franchise. It's a good character to have. Strong scientist who doesn't care about money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
So our second franchise started in 1969. Starred Disney's teen heartthrob at the time, the Zac Efron of his day. Any guesses as to who that was?
1969. The Zac Efron of his day. I'm trying to work out who would have been the right age range.
Still relevant to this day.
Still relevant to this day.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. No. No. I was absolutely going to say Clint Eastwood, despite the fact...
If I tell you this, when Walt Disney died, this guy's name was written on a piece of paper on his desk. Nobody knows why. Do you know that story?
I don't know this story. I'm going to find out everything I know about the story when you tell me the guy. So who is it?
It's Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell. Interesting. Okay.
So
Kurt Russell killed Walt Disney.
Possibly. Yeah.
Possibly. Interesting. I'm trying to place what this will be because I'm fairly sure I'll know it, but you'll have to give it to me. The name is going to escape me at the moment, but I'm sure
It's called The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes.
No, it wasn't going to be that.
Okay.
No.
So you're not familiar with this one?
I was going to go with Young the Thing. I was going to go with... was he in that? He was in Overboard that was remade a couple of years ago, I think.
He was, yeah.
And that was with Goldie
Hawn.
I think.
Yeah. Right.
So I was going to go with Young Overboard.
Young Overboard. Well. Young Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, Little Trouble in Big China. Escape from the crib. So please tell me about the computer that wore tennis shoes, was it?
Yeah. So it was actually Kurt Russell, who was about 18 or 19 when this was shot. So it was actually a teen, which I was surprised to learn. He plays Dexter Riley in this and the sequels.
So how old is Kurt Russell then? 'Cause in my head, he's maybe 60.
I think he's 70. He's 70? Yeah,
when
I looked him up earlier, he was born 1951, so yeah, 70. Yeah, he is.
Okay. Yeah, good for him.
Yep.
Anyway, please tell me more about this instead of me derailing it by saying, how old is Kurt Russell? A question that no one needs to know the answer to.
So it was directed by Robert Butler, written by Joseph L. McEvity. Not actually sure how to pronounce that name. I should be. It appears to be a Scottish name. Haven't a clue.
Yeah.
Mick and then Eveety. McEvity?
Yeah, I think McEvity, yeah.
No idea.
Like the cat from Cats, but slightly different. Like McCavity, but McEvity.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Kurt Russell plays Dexter Riley, who is a student at Medfield College.
Like from before. Okay, interesting. Is he flunking any classes, and does he need any help in a big game?
He's not great in his classes, him and his cohorts, but he is keen. Him and his classmates want to get a computer for their science class taught by Professor Quigley, who's played by William Shallert, and looks exactly like the guy who taught me how to drive. That's not relevant, but...
Well, that's a very personal connection, but that's good. I like the fact you've included those details.
Dean Higgins, played by Joe Flynn, who was also in the previous series as a different character. I can't remember who he was. He was just a minor character in those. But he was not Dean
kind of like
Higgins,
how they've retconned Martin Starr to be the guy from The Incredible Hulk as well as Peter Parker's teacher in Spider-Man. Interesting.
Yeah.
They're definitely the same character. They always were. Yeah.
So Dean Higgins, he denies the request. He says the college can't afford it. The college is having money troubles.
Well, they haven't been paid for Flubber yet.
Yeah. There's no mention of
Still waiting on
flubber,
that
but as
paycheck.
we'll see, they tend not to mention previous things that happened.
Okay. Almost like maybe this was just like okay. I'll hold my judgment for now, but I'll bring it up at the end.
So we've got another big rich guy in town. The students go to him, AJ Arnold, played by Cesar Romero.
Okay.
He's a wealthy businessman, and they ask him to donate a computer. He has a lot of computers for his business. He obliges.
And this is when computers were a pretty snazzy thing.
It's basically like one of those room-sized computers.
Yeah.
So he donates a computer, which was previously used for his illegal gambling ring.
There's such intrigue.
Yeah.
I love this. Where was this before?
Yeah, Dexter Riley at one point has to install a replacement part for the computer during a thunderstorm.
Oh my god.
The computer's struck by lightning, and Dexter Riley gains the powers of a computer.
Incredible.
Which include perfect memory, reading really fast, and quick maths.
And taking half an hour to load up. Like, when he wakes up in the morning, he really takes his time to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a really interesting thing. He's like the vision of...
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he is a young man with a computer mind.
What a power to inherit.
It's wild, isn't it? So he becomes a celebrity, and the college...
Well, you would.
Yeah, the college enters him in their team in a sort of university challenge style contest to win $100,000, which
that's money like they need.
Yeah, it would solve the college's money problems. During the semi-finals, a trigger word in a question starts Riley reciting details about Arno's gambling operation.
Oh no, revealing all of the villain's details.
Yeah. Arno's men kidnap him. And Dexter's friends go to get him back just in time for the final of the competition.
Good.
During the escape, Dexter gets concussed and starts losing his abilities.
Oh no.
Luckily, one of Dexter's idiot pals who's on the team is called Skylar. He knows the answer to the final question because it's about a town his uncle lives in.
So, like, by happenstance, they get it right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the last second field goal or whatever, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So they win the money, and Arno gets arrested trying to escape the TV studio, where he crashes head-on into a police car, like before. And that's it, pretty much.
Filled with flubber, no doubt.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I like the idea of this film. This sounds fun.
It is fun. This is definitely I would recommend. This is probably my favourite of the whole franchise.
Wow. Okay. And this is on Disney Plus.
This one is, yep.
With a classic like this, why wouldn't you put it there?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, check it out. Kurt Russell's great. Cesar Romero's great. It's good fun.
Yeah. And do they ever get the reason why he killed Walt Disney, or no?
No,
that's left unexplained. Okay, right. We'll do our own investigation into that. We'll find out.
Yeah. Okay, so the sequel to this was called Now You See Him, Now You Don't. Can you guess what science mishap happens in this one?
I mean, I'm guessing someone becomes invisible, but...
Well, let's find out.
Hang on, is it Kurt Russell again?
It is Kurt Russell.
How much misfortune can one kid have?
We'll see. So this is 1972, directed by Robert Butler, written by Joseph L. McCavity again, along with Robert L. King this time.
When you've got the right team, you don't want to break them up, do you?
No, absolutely not. So Dexter, this time he's working on an experiment to create some kind of invisibility serum. During the night, his experiment is...
Why are they given these, like... Who's setting these assignments?
This one is for a contest where everyone's working on their own thing, and he's gone off on this theory himself. Based on, I can't remember, I didn't write the name down, but a Russian scientist's theory about using liquid to refract light around something. There's a wee bit of science explained in it.
So he's just saying if you get someone wet enough, then they will become invisible.
Pretty much, with a liquid with the right properties.
Okay, right. It can't just be like you spill something on someone and then you go, where have they gone?
Well, that will happen.
Okay. Oh, well.
So during the night, his experiment gets struck by lightning. A lot of thunderstorms in Medfield. That happens quite a lot.
Well,
maybe something to do with the flubber gas.
yeah, I think I know why. The weather-changing gas that's been released into the air years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, that happens during the night. The next day, Dean Higgins meets with A.J. Arno, who's just got out of prison and has bought over Medfield's mortgage.
How? And he's recently released from prison, and presumably he was put in there on criminal charges.
Yeah.
How is he doing this?
He was in prison for illegal gambling, and he was firing guns at the end of the last movie. So
okay,
I believe so. He certainly does in this one.
Okay.
But yeah, so he's acquired the mortgage for Medfield. It's implied that he has like really good lawyers and stuff like that got him out.
The fucking super lawyers is what he's got.
Yeah. So then Dexter returns to his lab and finds that the equipment is destroyed. Or is it?
Wait, is this a Dexter's laboratory?
Well, that's the interesting thing. Is Dexter out of Dexter's lab named after him?
Yeah, I wonder. Maybe. Well, yeah, I guess like this is probably for people who were making those programs in the 90s.
Yeah.
This was like a thing they grew up with, maybe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like if I called something now Flubber, 2.
Yeah.
People would be like, was he inspired by Flubber? Yes, 100% he was inspired by Flubber.
Yeah.
Interesting. So he goes back to the lab.
Yep. Finds his equipment destroyed, or is it? What he soon discovers is that some of it is actually just invisible.
Okay.
So
it looks like it's broken, but parts of it are invisible instead.
Yeah.
Good.
And then he just basically has this like tub of goo that makes things invisible, and he starts just dipping things in it, as you would.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be dipping everything in it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he does for the next few minutes.
I don't want to find anything I own ever again.
I think he accidentally dips half his glasses in it, which is quite a good effect. He's wearing like half the glasses. It looks pretty cool. He dips a pencil in it, all sorts. And then what do you do next? After that, you've dipped a few objects in.
Dip yourself in it.
Puts his hand right in it.
Yeah.
Without checking, he can make the pencil reappear or have his glasses reappear. Just sticks his hand in.
I'm going to be jumping in that goo immediately.
Then his pal Skylar turns up. Remember him from winning the contest in the last one?
I remember him.
He comes in.
What's he been up to?
Not
Does he just dip himself in?
Well, Dexter goes, put your hand in this, pretty much. And he goes, I'm not putting my hand in that.
Endangering everyone.
And then Dexter goes, well, you're a coward then. And he goes, I'm not a coward. And he puts his hand in it.
Wait, is this also an origin for the Marty McFly chicken stuff? Don't call me chicken.
That's pretty much what that scene is, yeah.
But what we're learning is that all cinema derives from this original MCU.
Yep.
Okay, interesting. All of the tropes are here.
Yeah, so, that's at this point the Dean turns up giving A.J. Arno his tour, and they both have invisible hands that they need to hide at this point.
Because otherwise people would just be like, what's wrong with your hand? Well, surely you could just say you're an amputee now.
You could, yeah. But it's not their whole hand, it's like they're just the like
fingers.
Half their fingers, pretty much, they've dipped in it.
Okay. It would have cost too much to make all of it disappear, I guess. They didn't have the money for that in the budget.
Probably would have been easier to make the whole thing disappear because it's a very janky effect.
I would say to go from a kid who has the power of the computer to a kid who can turn things invisible with goo.
Yeah.
Like, that feels like that's a massive step up in stakes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Which is odd for a sequel. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, I suppose once you've gone with the computer kid, where do you go from there? Of course, make things invisible.
Yeah.
It's the natural progression.
Yeah. So, where was it? Yeah, during this tour, A.J. Arnold's looking out the window of the lab going, that's a nice view and everything like that. It's a bit suspicious about what he's doing. Doesn't seem that concerned about the kids that got him jailed standing there.
How does he feel about them? These are the people who put him away for 3 years.
He does remember them. He walks past them and he says hi to Dexter, but he gets his name wrong, possibly intentionally, sort of like a
maybe just in the script it was just forgotten.
Yeah. But yeah, he seems to just be getting on. He's quite a sort of charming, suave guy, played by Cesar Romero, obviously.
And everyone's just forgotten that he was evil last
Well,
time.
yeah, well, Dexter and his pals haven't. They're well aware of it.
good.
Dean Higgins doesn't seem to care.
As long as that mortgage is getting paid, it's fine.
Well, that's it. He's also given him like an extension on paying it, which is why Dean Higgins is sort of buttering him up a bit. Yeah, okay, so they're trying to rub the stuff off their hands. It's not coming off. But luckily they soon discovered that water removes it, which is good.
I mean, yeah. I mean, better than staying invisible forever, I guess.
Yeah. That night they turn themselves invisible, Dexter and Skylar, and they sneak into Arnold's office to find out what he's up to. They discover a letter confirming that an old law that allows gambling on Medfield College grounds still stands. And
he loves gambling.
Yeah,
Arno.
he does. They also find plans for a casino and dog racing track in place of the college.
Sounds like maybe the college won't be there soon, but
Yeah.
I trust that I trust that he won't betray the college. He's a nice guy after all, freshly out of prison.
Yeah. The pair take this to Dean Higgins, and they also try and get entered into a science contest to win money.
Of course, another contest.
Yeah,
Good.
and this will help them buy out the mortgage off of AJ Arno. To do this,
There's always just a perfect amount of money
Yeah.
that is needed, that is available if you turn yourself invisible somehow.
Yeah. To get them into the contest, the dean has to play golf with the head of the contest committee. Problem is, he's terrible at golf. So what do they do?
Course. Well, they're going to turn themselves invisible and help him play.
Yeah.
Of course.
Pretty much. Well, Dexter does. Skylar caddies for him to kind of cover this as well.
I'd just say I'd just have ghost golf clubs. They're moving on their own.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, basically Dexter just, like, sweeps his ball towards the hole all the time. This goes on for a long time, bringing back the trope of long sports
Okay,
scene.
so overly long sports scene that isn't very interesting once you get past the initial joke of it. Okay.
Yeah. And after that, because the contest committee guy is impressed with the dean's golfing skills, he allows the college to enter the contest.
So weird that's the bar of entry is how good is the dean of this college at golf?
Yeah, it's kind of not like he goes. It's the only time he can meet him. Is the kind of it's better explained in the movie. It's the only time.
But like he is impressed with the skill on display,
and
that definitely influences his decision.
Yeah.
This is fucking weird. I don't agree with that.
So just after this, Arno is also a member of this golf club, and while in the locker room, he sees Dexter reappear in the shower and works out what's happened.
Because water washes off the goo.
Yeah. So then Arno's henchman, Cookie, who was also in the last film playing a different character, I should have mentioned, but a very similar character. He switches
Might
out
have just
Dexter's
changed his
formula.
name. Might have just changed his name. We don't know.
He changed his name and became Arno's nephew in this one, which he wasn't before. But
did he explicitly say in the previous film, "I am not your nephew"? But
he's just slightly different character. He's more of like a wily gangster in this one. This one, he's more of an idiot. But so he switches out the formula. At the contest, obviously the formula doesn't work because it's been switched out. Skylar, believing he's invisible, carries on with the demonstration. Pretty funny scene.
Does he take his clothes off?
No, he doesn't. No, because the clothes.
That'd be like a funny thing where you do the thing where you're naked in front of the class in assembly.
Yeah, I feel like if it was a modern movie, that would have happened. But no, he just
100%.
He's just lifting stuff and waving it about, like in a
and
funny
people
way.
are just like, "Yeah, we can see you, you idiot."
Yeah,
fun. That's good. Okay, I want to watch this movie now.
So Dexter,
that's won me round. That and the golf.
I should say this one not on Disney Plus. Don't know why.
Okay.
So Dexter suspects it was Arnold. He plants a walkie-talkie in his office, which is a trope of these films I've not mentioned. They listen into the dean's faculty meetings with a walkie-talkie they've hidden in his office. Because that's what college students want to do, listen to faculty meetings.
I guess there's nothing more exciting
No.
than the administration of your college.
So they find out that Arno and Cookie are going to rob the bank while invisible.
I mean, we knew they were going to do something no good with it.
Yeah. This kicks off a chase with the police and Dexter and the gang chasing the invisible car. Eventually, they run Arno's car off the road and into a swimming pool.
Not into another police car.
No, not this time.
Missed opportunity.
Although I actually think it does crash into a police car while it's invisible. Yeah,
okay, but then crash into a swimming pool because obviously the water's got to wash the car off so that the car becomes visible.
Yep.
Okay. I'll let them have it this time. They got away with it.
Yep. So Arno gets arrested again, and Dexter gets the formula back in time for the award ceremony.
Of course.
The contest. He runs in and makes the dean invisible, and then wins the prize.
But the voting should have closed by that point, right?
Well, yeah, it definitely had. And they were about to award it to State College, their rivals. But
hang on, was State College the rivals in the previous one?
Yeah, well, no, it was Rutger, which was it was mentioned that it was a state. It was a state college.
Okay,
so it could have changed names, perhaps.
No, I'm 100% buying the fact that this is definitely Rutger State College. Yep.
So yeah, that's the end of it, and basically sets up for a sequel with Dexter saying, yeah, it's solved their problems now, but they're going to need to pay the mortgage off again next year.
But he's in prison.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know.
Who buys the mortgage off of it?
I have no idea who owns the mortgage at this point.
Surely the bank did. Is this college making no money?
I think it is making no money. That appears to be the case, yeah.
Because, all of their students and professors just arsing around for free, doing whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
But there's always financial problems, and it's you know what your outgoing expenditure is going to be for the next financial year.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just hope that a competition arises that has exactly the right amount of payment.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, that sounds good. Is it? What's your rating of?
That'll do, Pig, for me.
What's this movie even called again? Now you see him, now you don't.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, it's very good. That'll do, Pig. So we're noticing a trend here. The originals, good. Sequels, failing to live up.
Yeah, it's got some good fun moments in it. But yeah, if you liked the first one, give it a watch. It's very simple.
I mean, I've liked all of them so far from the way you've described them.
Great. So we'll see if that changes when we come on to our final one. The Strongest Man in the World, this one is called.
Okay. Also starring Kurt Russell?
Yep. It's another, it's third in the Dexter Riley trilogy.
A cinematic character that goes down in history alongside Marlon Brando in The Godfather, or Air Bud, I guess, is who it goes alongside.
Yeah. So this one's 1975, a few years later.
He's still at college.
Still at college. There is a joke in this about that. Skylar, who's also in this, mentions that he's been at college for 6.5 years, which is how long it's been between the first.
The original Van Wilder. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the rest of the cast aren't in this one from the first two. Like all his other pals aren't in.
They've all aged out and presumably were not invited to come back.
Yeah. I should admit, the first and second one he had different girlfriends, but most of his friends were the same.
Right. Were the different girlfriends played by the same actress? Because that seems to be a thing in this series where two different characters are played by the same person.
Yeah.
So.
No, it was a different actress.
Okay.
They
could have waved it away. Identical twins. Who knows?
Yeah, I didn't notice enough to notice if she had a different name. To be honest, so it might have been the same character, different actress, and I just didn't pick up on it.
A little flip on the old formula of these stupid movies. Okay, interesting. Right, so Strongest Man in the World
by Vincent McKeevity, presumably related to Joseph L. McKeevity, who also wrote this one with Herman
a little
Groves.
Bit of nepotism. Interesting. Yep. Okay, I sense that this one's going to be a flop. I mean, I've never heard of this film or either of the previous two, so I'm guessing this one might be a flop.
So this time, Skylar's heading up the experiment, who, if you remember from the first film, he was an idiot. He seems to have learned a lot in his 6.5 years in college, though. He's done better.
Well, thank God for that.
Everyone's sort of working on his experiment that he's proposed. they are trying to make a skinny cow big and strong. They've got the cow in the college lab. And he's working on a vitamin cereal that he's feeling like he's putting all sorts of vitamins and a slice of pizza into a grinder and then putting it on top of this cereal.
That's not going to be good for the cow.
No. Dexter's also working on a formula for this, which the cow won't drink because it has like a very bitter taste. But then an accident in the lab knocks Dexter's formula into the cereal.
Yeah. Makes a bowl of cereal, basically. Milk with cereal.
Yeah,
Bitter milk with cereal. Okay.
Yeah, so Dean Higgins finds out that they're spending a lot of money to rent this cow. And Professor Quigley, who's back, he wasn't in the second one.
They're renting an ill cow.
Yeah, from a local farmer.
How much is a cow?
They do mention it. I think it's $15 a day, they say.
You could probably buy a cow for less than $15 if you find a mangy enough cow.
Yeah, and this one does look pretty rough. So, yeah.
And let me guess, the mortgage is exactly $15 per day.
Dean Higgins fires Professor Quigley and tells his students to pack in this.
Devastating news.
Yeah. They imply that he's been fired before, which is why he's not in the second movie as well.
Okay. Was there any reason given for that, or is it kind of one of those things where it's just like, inappropriately encouraging the students to pursue their dreams no matter what they are?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Quigley's gone.
So Skylar packs up the experiment. He just takes the cereal out of the bowl that the cow was eating, puts it back in the box, takes that home.
Okay. I mean, scientifically, red flags all over the place here.
Yeah. So in the middle of the night, Dexter gets a phone call from the farmer they rented the cow from, and he tells him the cow has produced over 80 gallons of milk.
There's not even an issue of it being like a ill cow or anything. That's worse, if anything.
Yeah. They do show it's the middle of the night, and his his wife and his children are
brings
still...
this kid's house.
Well, it's like a college dorm, yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah. He rings the college dorm.
Like a frat house kind of deal.
Okay, so they're like, guys, turn down the boombox. I've got to speak to this farmer about his massively milked cow.
Well, maybe early in the morning, Dexter's sleeping in. It's hard to tell. But you see the farmer's wife milking the cow and his children all carrying buckets of milk.
That's a lot of fun. Okay, yeah. That's good.
So he doesn't really take this in. He's like half awake, and he doesn't really register this, Dexter. Mm-hmm. He goes down to the kitchen.
Well, Dexter's a famous idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, no. Dexter's not the idiot. Skyler's the idiot. Okay.
Dexter's not the smartest guy in the world, despite the fact he was a computer-brained man for a while. And discovered invisibility.
He got the concussion, remember? He got the concussion.
But then he discovered invisibility. Which is never mentioned, as I said. We don't mention things that happened in the past. Nobody ever mentions these things.
Keep the canon cleaner. You know.
So Dexter, the next morning, goes down and he asks Skylar if he can have some of his cereal. He's like, yeah, go ahead. Has a bowl of this cereal. And soon discovers that he has super strength. Dexter goes to Quigley and the Dean.
Can I just... I want to stop interjecting here because I want to get this flow going. But I'm so concerned by the events of this movie. So, the box of cereal... It's a vitamin cereal or something, right?
Well, Skylar put vitamins into it. It was regular cereal. It was Crumbly Crunch cereal. And he just put the vitamins into it.
It's just regular cereal.
It's just regular cereal,
Can I have some of your Crumbly Crunch? Yes. Yeah. And then forgets to mention the fact that it's the one that he put the handful of tampered with cereal back into. Yeah,
and it has a ground up pizza slice in it as well, remember?
Okay, I guess at this point, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm on.
There's also a wee bit of like an explosion when Dexter eats it that occurs.
In him or like in the bowl? It seems
to come from the bowl, but it's like as he eats.
That's a lot of fun. Okay, that's a lot of fun. I like this film again.
Yeah. So Dexter and Skylar, they go to Quigley and they take him to the Dean and show him the strength. Quigley gets rehired. The dean then goes to the cereal company, goes to Crumbly Crunch's board meeting, and demonstrates the strength formula.
A thing that you can just walk into.
Well, yeah, he gets a meeting set up. I think he does do that.
Okay.
And he the dean demonstrates his strength. This scene goes on for way too long. He lifts
It's
weights.
kind of a sporting event, I'd say, yeah. Oh, he lifts weights. Okay, well, there you are then.
He swings on the lights like a trapeze, and he karate chops the table in half.
Good. Excellent. The best stuff I've ever heard. This is good.
So the head of the company, Harriet Crumbly, she phones up her rival.
Hang on. Her name is Crumbly.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I was like, oh, what is it? Crumbly Crunch?
Crumbly Crunch, yep.
That just sounds like it's something that's been made up as a marketing name.
Yeah.
But her, it is a familial name is Crumbly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a family business too. A lot of the guys in the board meeting are like her nephews or cousins or whatever as well.
I love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. She phones up her rival, Kirkwood Crinkle, of Crinkle Crunch cereal.
Oh, for God's sake. This isn't real anymore. I was willing to believe that her name was Crumbly, but he's not Kirkwood Crinkle or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Crinkle Crunch cereal, and she challenges them to a weightlifting competition where Crumbly Crunch will sponsor Medfield and Crinkle Crunch will sponsor the better funded rival, State College.
They're back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
and I bet it's those Rutgers or whatever.
Yeah. Unbeknownst to them, though, there is a spy in the Crumbly Crunch boardroom. Harriet's nephew, Harry, played by Dick Van Patten, is listening in. He's working for Crinkle.
I mean, when you can't trust your own family, who can you trust?
No. So Harry then goes to hire AJ Arnold and his goons.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's back again.
He is back again. He's down on his luck a wee bit this time because he's been hired. Really, he was a rich businessman before, but he's having to do.
Look, after 2 stints in prison, this is the very least that he deserves.
Yeah. So he hires them to steal the formula. Mm-hmm. They kidnap Skylar and take him to Chinatown, where this guy uses acupuncture and hypnotism to get the formula out of him. This bit's a wee bit stereotypical, wee bit not okay. No.
Yes, it sounds like 1970s racism.
Yeah. But what Skylar doesn't know, and nobody knows, is that Dexter's formula got accidentally added into his formula. So obviously, hypnotising him doesn't work. They then hypnotise him, telling him to forget what happened and take the first means of transport home, which causes him to steal a police car.
Okay.
And then obviously he gets arrested.
Yeah.
The next day it's the weightlifting competition. Obviously the weightlifting team also don't know that the combination of formulas is what happened, and they just got Skylar's formula. The weightlifting scene starts with the two rival teams eating their sponsorship bowl of cereal before they go on.
Not a thing that would happen before a weightlifting contest.
No.
No one who's serious about weightlifting is there like, yeah, let me just finish my Rice Krispies first.
Yeah, but it's to show off how the cereal gives you strength. That's the idea of this.
Of course, yeah. It's all branded content. I get it.
But what Dexter realizes, because he's on the weightlifting team, he realizes that the explosion didn't happen. It doesn't taste the same. This isn't right. And he starts telling people this, but the team are all jazzed up. They think they've got the strength formula in them. They're ready to go.
Mind over matter.
Yeah. So Dexter works out that the cereal had a better taste before. That is what his formula had. So he takes off to the lab to go get that.
Incredible how well his mind still works.
Yeah.
Because no one else is picking up on that, but he is.
Yes, yeah. But the contest is underway. The first guy on the Medfield team, he tries to lift weights and his arms get stretched out real long. The second guy gets frozen with the weights above his head and collapses. It's not going well for Medfield.
No. But this is all good comedy.
Yeah, as some more sports hijinks is what we've got here.
Okay.
Not as long this time, thankfully. So Dexter's on his way back with the formula. He's confronted by Arno's men on the way back, but Dexter drinks the formula, beats them up, gets into the event quick enough, and he lifts 1,111 pounds, winning the competition.
Perfect. All of the ones.
Yeah. It's just
the most anyone could ever lift.
The exact amount they need. I don't know how you put... I guess they had like little half-pound weights that they put on either side of this that make that up. I don't know how you do that. But, yeah.
Or is it just one big weight that is, like, he just lifts
maybe.
it?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's the plates. But, yeah, weird. Anyway, yeah, it's the exact amount they need. And Arno gets arrested again. And that is the end of our franchise there.
Okay. I mean... It sounds like they jumped the shark. I feel like maybe in the second one.
Yeah, definitely. This is I would not recommend. This one.
Okay.
It's not good. This one is on Disney Plus. I don't know why the second one isn't, but this one is.
How strange.
Yeah.
How strange that they deemed the second one not worthy, and then this one is like, no, we want people to see the depths of how...
It's all Disney produced and everything. I don't know what the problem is, but...
I wonder if it's just a case of they've archived the now you see them, now you don't. And then they're going to release that when they remove these two from it. Because they'll vault stuff and then release it from the... I mean, I want 4K copies of all of these. I want digital Blu-rays. I want everything. Like, these sound great. I mean, they sound awful, but
fun.
They sound great.
Yeah, they are fun. Yeah. Like, even the worst of them, they have moments where they are fun. I was getting really bored during the last one at points, but the rest of them absolutely would watch again. They are. There's a really good joke in the second one that involves cereal as well that I laughed a lot at. It's when the dean's looking around the experiments that all the people are doing in the lab, and there's a guy who's got a beaker. He's got a beaker full of cereal and he's looking really intently at it, and the dean and the professor sort of look over his shoulder at what he's doing, and he pours sugar in it, and then he pours milk in it, and then he puts a spoon in it and he starts eating it. And it's like very obvious what's going to happen, but the timing of it is really good, and it's really funny just to watch the dean and the professor look at him, like try to work out what he's doing.
Okay, so these are films that don't necessarily have that many redeeming features, but do have some.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We've covered them, but I think there may be another
okay.
as well that I have not watched. Right. But the Shaggy Dog universe may also be connected.
Okay, I'm aware of the Shaggy Dog universe, yeah.
It has a lot of the same cast members playing different roles, but as we know from that franchise, that doesn't...
And again, was remade in the 2000s, this one.
Yeah, but the Shaggy DA, the sequel to the Shaggy Dog, is set in the town of Medfield.
Oh my god.
Not at the college this time, but in Medfield.
How deep does this rabbit hole go?
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably a scene at the college. There's probably something shot at the college. There's a basketball game or...
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay.
So, yeah, the name Medfield comes from Medfield, Massachusetts, where a friend of Walt Disney lived. And he would often land his plane on a private airstrip there, apparently.
So this was one of my questions earlier, was going to be... Is it just an executive at Disney came from the town of Medfield and decided we should set... Yeah, it just became a sort of de facto name that they went to because,
Yeah.
But I like the fact that all of these are actually more connected than that.
Yeah, well, I've written down some sort of recurring themes and concepts and tropes here that I think kind of link
police
these.
Car crashing.
Yep, that's one of them. Yeah, head-on specifically. Head-on police in I think 4 of the 5.
And always hilarious.
Yeah. Two long sports scenes, obviously. Yeah. Science experiment leads to hijinks is basically what all of them are.
If you take that away, there isn't a film.
Yeah. And money troubles is a recurring concept in a lot of them.
Fiscal mismanagement by Medfield's board of directors, sure.
Yeah, and absolute dipshits being good at science somehow is present.
Because Skylar really continues the
the
work of Ned.
Yeah. So I think there's an argument to be made that these are the same universe, and I'm going to continue with that.
I'm willing to believe that this is the most successful cinematic franchise of all time. If you were to tell me that these have grossed over $25 billion, I'd believe you. And interesting that obviously the connective tissue there is Kurt Russell is now a member of the MCU.
Yep. I believe the only cast member out of any of these is. But
so the MCU is also connected to Medfield. Like, it feels like they're all kind of set within that same, because in it he says, "My name is Ego, the living planet. Also, my name is Dexter."
Yeah, he does.
And he looks at the camera and he winks and he sort of goes, "Because you remember from before?" And then everyone in the cinema goes, "I don't really remember what he means by that."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Trust me, you'll listen to a podcast one day and it will all make sense."
Yeah.
And
if
then
you look closely,
he gets back to tormenting Star-Lord.
Yeah. If you look closely, you do see his Medfield diploma hanging behind him.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's a bit in the scene where I think he goes half invisible, and then he eats a bowl of cereal and it explodes. So all of these things actually start to make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Yeah, as we sort of alluded to, these aren't that well remembered, but they were very popular at the time, and I think among like people of that age, they were quite well regarded films. To the point where like there's the Epcot attraction, Journey into Imagination, features in the queue. They have like artifacts. That's kind of like their science ride thing, and there's a Medfield jacket, like a college jacket, hanging next to a sign that says "No tennis shoes allowed."
Oh my god. So what you're telling me now is the Disney World resorts are also in the Medfield cinematic universe.
There's also, in that, there's a recreation of Dean Higgins' office as well. So,
Right, well, the last time I went there, I was not old enough to remember the Medfield cinematic universe was a thing because I found out about it an hour ago. Yeah. So I'm willing to believe that I need to go back there now as a sort of, not Medfield superfan, because I'd never take that title away from you, but sort of a sidekick fan, I suppose. I'm very much the Skylar to your Dexter.
Yeah.
I am fascinated by this. This is something really that I wasn't aware of at all, and yet has provided me with more questions than I ever thought it would.
I know, it's amazing. I just stumbled upon this as well. I don't really know how I did. I can't even remember the point where I realised that this was a thing. But, I mean, I'm glad I did.
Why did Disney stop this?
Yeah, I know.
That's the real question.
You could have had so many other, like, that would have been a great recurring theme to have.
You could have ridden this gravy train right to the bank. I mean, it kind of feels like they've got their animated stuff, which is kind of its own thing, and they all sit within their own universes, and that's fine. No one really... But I feel like all live-action Disney films should be in Medfield somehow.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Just...
What have you got to lose? Like, just if you're going to make a live-action Disney film now, just be like, well, we've got to throw in a reference to Medfield somewhere. You know, talk about Quigley, you know.
Yeah,
he's back.
Well, you said, like, why...
As my old Professor Quigley told me. Oh,
yeah.
Right, we're in the Medfield Cinematic Universe, guys. Strap in.
Say, like, you would raise the questions like, why is nobody mentioning Flubber? Why is nobody mentioning that time that guy absorbed the computer? But nobody mentions them in the sequel anyway.
Yeah,
so
the rules of the universe were established in the second film. We never directly reference anything from the previous.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I would watch all of these movies.
I honestly would recommend doing it. Like, I know I said would not recommend for the last one, but
when you've got 4 into the series, I feel like you may as well just go in for the 5th.
Yeah, you might as well.
You know, you're in for a penny, in for a pound at that point. Like, what have you got to lose?
Yeah. I'm going to go watch Flubber again, I think that's my next protocol.
I think you'll be surprised, because when you were saying it, I was kind of like, I'm 100% convinced that all of this happens in Flubber.
That's very interesting. Because I don't think I've seen it since I had it on VHS as a child. But,
there's definitely a flying car in it. There's definitely a point where the military are involved. I'm sure of it. Yeah, Christopher McDonald's character plays the sort of love interest from the rival school.
Yeah.
I think Flubber shoots up his butt at one point, which is very funny.
That doesn't happen in the 60s one.
No, that's a little bit too raunchy for the 1960s audiences, I feel like.
Yeah.
But no, I think you'll get a lot out of Flubber now, because you'll watch it and you go, there is a continuation of the Medfield cinematic universe.
If I discover something in that links it to the Dexter Riley series, I'm gonna
then we've got
out.
Another episode lined up. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fascinating. And
I don't know how to wrap this up because we're doing 2 podcasts at once. This is
well, how do you normally wrap yours up?
I usually let the guest plug, and then I just do my Twitter handles and it.
And in this case, we're both the guests kind of at the same time. So, you know, I'll plug as if I was the guest, you know. Okay. Or we record 2 alternate takes and then... I mean, that's way more editing than...
I need to edit this tomorrow morning. So, and we're an hour and 16 in, so...
But this is all gold. You just need to top and tail it and we'll be fine. Yeah. What was I going to say then? Okay, so Dinosaur Man Podcast. Jesus. Dinosaur Man Podcast. You can find us on anywhere you find podcasts, and you can find us on Twitter at DinosaurMan15. We also stream on Twitch on Thursdays now at Dinosaur Man Pod. I'm not quite sure what we'll be doing. Maybe some spooky stuff in October. Who knows? That'll be exciting. But yeah, you can find us there, and you can also find me in the Flubber section of the local video store. That's right, that whole section just for Flubber. Yeah,
the Medfield section. All the Medfield colours.
You can see me frantically searching for the Shaggy Dog remake now.
I do Doghair Presents, which is a show where we teach you something new every week. Usually not as sort of weird and abstract as this concept was that I came up with, but it's usually more solid a concept.
Hey, this is the most solid concept I've ever heard.
Yeah, a lot of history, pop culture stuff, basically anything. So you can come check that out, Doghair Presents, wherever you find podcasts, or doghairnetwork.com. And follow me on Twitter at Rory M. Spence and at Doghair Network.
Perfect. I mean, It's either the podcast you're listening to now or it's the podcast you're going to listen to next, I guess. Yeah. So, yeah, perfect. I don't have anything else to say, right?
No. Let's say bye.
Okay. Bye. Goodbye.